So we're going to do a little bit of opening up our upper body using the roller. The roller just literally rolls. But if you don't have a roller, you could use like a towel on the floor, you could use a ball, and just sliding it basically. So doesn't matter what shape or size roller, it literally is just that it rolls. Or towel on the floor or your hands on the floor. So if you just start with your hands on it and hinge at your hips and go forward, arching your back as much as you can, kind of looking forward, and then rounding your back and coming back up. So we're just trying to move our upper backs a little bit. If you didn't have a roller, you just slide your hands forward. The roller helps just lift you up a little higher. Yeah, exactly. Moving yourself forward and curling back up and trying to hinge at the hips to go forward, trying to feel a big stretch through the hips. And today feels like the kind of day that we need to get things moving, get things mobile, and then we'll do some specific strengthening. Can't really be strong if you're not mobile. So it's always going to be a balance between those two things. And then take the roller in front of one leg, one knee, and you're going out on a diagonal. You should feel more stretch across the lat, through the armpit, through the side of those ribs, and coming back. And do that a couple times, hinging forward and rounding back. If you want to release the backhand, you can. Some people feel more of a stretch, some people feel less as they take away that backhand. It's up to you. Good. You can just sit on your leg, you can sit on the floor. One more time on this side. And bring your roller over to the other knee. And same thing, other side. Going forward and back. Just going to back up a little bit. Trying to move through your spine, open, let your armpit kind of stretch open, let your shoulder lift away from your ears. Again, you'd just be sliding on the floor if you don't have a roller. And then if you let go of that back hand, that works, good. And one more time on this diagonal. And then taking the roller or the towel to your side and go up and over and do a little bounce, and then come back up. Up and over, bounce. Just kind of stretching a little further, and come up. And further, come up. And then we're going to add to this. So you go up and over in this little bounce. You're going to come back up, swing your arm across the standing arm, and then open back up. And so you connect it all, bounce, lift up, swing one way, swing the other, and do 2 pulses there. And 2 pulses here as you go to the side, lift up, swing it across your body, open 2 pulses. And nice. Bend and swing one way, pulse the other way. Last time, side bend and up and swing and pulse, and switch the roller over to the other side of the towel and just go into a big side bend and come back up. And side bend. Good. That looks great. And add your little double pulse, and come back up. Pulse, still in the opposition of your sit bone going down as you go up and over. Yeah. And then we'll add to this. So you do your 2 pulses up and over to the side. You come back up, swing across the roller, open out, double pulse. And side bend, pulse, and come up and swing across and open. And side bend, pulse, and come up and swing, swing. 2 more on your own timing. That looks beautiful, everyone. Swing, pulse, and up and over, up and swing and pulse and come back. Good. If you're using a roller, you're going to put your feet on the roller. If you're using a towel, same thing, feet on the towel. And make sure there's some room behind you because you're going to be rolling down. So roll down to laying on your back. Reach your arms overhead and just stretch your arms out away from you as far as you can. Get really long. Circle your arms around. Start to roll yourself up. Stretch your legs out long as you roll up and do a little bounce, pulse, pulse, and then pull it back in and roll back down through your spine. Good. Circle the arm around, arms, and roll up. A little double pulse, and come back down. Let's do that twice more. If you're having trouble getting up, you could grab behind one leg if you needed to use it to get up. And one more time, bounce, bounce, and coming back up. And this, the roller, you're gonna pull it underneath you and bring it underneath your pelvis. Cool. Lift one leg up to tabletop and then the other. And from here, cross your ankles over each other, separate your knees, and just let your pelvis tip a little bit one way over the roller and then the other way. And tip over the roller one way and the other. Bend your knees and make your diamond shape kind of a wide diamond shape, not a skinny, tall, straight-legged one. Yeah. And then you're gonna start to add the bottom leg reaching out underneath you, and then your foot comes back under, and the bottom leg reaches out, and your foot comes back under. You curl the pelvis and reach out, and then switch which leg is on top. Now the other leg can reach out as you tip your pelvis towards the leg, and then curl and tip the pelvis and curl back and tip. And now try to switch legs each time. Doesn't matter if you're moving the leg on top or the leg on bottom. Curling one way and the other. The roller's helping you to tip one way and then the other. Move your pelvis. Yeah, exactly. And move the pelvis and curl the pelvis and reach through the leg. And if you'd like to add to this, you're going to reach your leg down, sweep it out to the side and back underneath you. Curl, bring it down, sweep out and back under and curl. Sweep it out. I'm going to switch rollers because my roller is sliding too much with the clothes I have on. So as you kind of find that rhythm, exactly, you could definitely do this without the roller if you needed to. Sweep the leg, bring it under, curl. Sweep the leg, bring it under, curl. And we're doing this kind of dancey, rhythmic feeling today so that you kind of use it to open different body parts up. Shouldn't feel really hard, maybe for your brain, but not for your body. Should feel kind of easeful. And bring your legs up to the ceiling, straighten them out. Take your legs only as low on the diagonal as you can, keep your abdominal connection, and then lift your legs back up. And connect your abdominals, lower your legs, and lift your legs. Good. And if you're doing this without a roller, it's just going to be harder, so you probably won't go as low with the legs. Feel like you're connecting the abdominals in. Only go as low as you can, keep weight on your upper back. Feel like your sternum is kind of softening in and down. And then take this into a scissor. Split the legs apart. Bend the bottom leg. Split the legs apart. We're just trying to open up the quads a little so there's a split where both legs are straight before you bicycle through. Both legs straight, bicycle through. Open up through the leg like you're trying to drag something on the floor towards you. Yes, that's right. Nice. And reverse it, sweeping out. And 4 more. And last one. And then bring your legs in towards your chest. Let them collapse a little. You can take your hands to your feet like happy baby kind of pose in yoga. Feels pretty nice here to be on the roller a little elevated usually. And then slowly roll the roller out from underneath you. And then grab a hold of the ends of your roller. Take your arms overhead. Bring your feet underneath you. Push your hips up. Roll your hips back down. Bring the roller to your thighs. Roll up. Slide your feet away. Turn your legs in and try to stretch way over the legs. Bring the roller back in and into your hands. The arms go overhead as you lift your hips up. And you roll down, push your legs out away from you as you push the roller into your legs. Do a little pulse there, reaching out over the legs, and then rolling back down, bending the legs back in, grabbing the end of the roller. Just once more, rolling up, rolling down through the spine. The roller comes to the thighs. You push your hands into the roller. To roll up, you do a little double pulse and you roll all the way back down. Cool. So then set the roller down for a second. Bring your legs up to tabletop position and connect your abdominals. You can have your hands behind your head. Flex your upper body up. Slide rib towards the opposite hip. Center back off. Up and across. Just using your obliques. Exhaling, slide rib to opposite hip. As you come up and across, if you want to add your leg extending the opposite leg, you're going towards the bent leg, or you can just keep the legs in. Depends on how you're feeling today. If you want to push it even a little more, go a little bit faster so it's more like double time. Switch and switch and switch and switch. And 4, 3, 2, last one. Come all the way back in. Set your head down. Grab behind one leg. Use that leg to sit up. You're gonna hold on to your roller. If you have a short roller, you'll hold the ends of the roller. If you have a long roller, you're gonna have to hold underneath it like this. Does that make sense? I'm kind of scooping my hands under. We're gonna do a version of rolling like a ball. So you're gonna round to the back of your sits bones. You're gonna start to roll back and you're gonna push the roller down your legs a little, straighten them, and then curl your legs around the roller to sit back up. So you just kind of slide it down the legs. If you can, flex your feet. And bend the knees, come back up. Do that a couple times. Reaching through the legs, flex your feet when the legs are overhead, trying to straighten them out as much as you can. Rounding back. And when you come back up, you should be looking kind of towards your pubic bone, so you're still in that ball shape. Do a couple more, rounding back. That looks good. And coming up. Good, Gloria. You're just using the roller to try to lengthen the back of the legs a little bit more. If it's just fussy and it's not working for you, get rid of it. Let's do your normal rolling like a ball. Reaching back and scoop and come back up. And reaching back. And one last time. Set the roller down and reach your arms forward. Round back. You're going to stay in this round back position. Reach one arm open and bring it back in front of you. And of course, like always, you're welcome to add weights to your hands, rotate through your torso, come back to the center. Squeeze your legs together if you can and try to keep the lower body still. Rotate and center and rotate and then come forward over your legs. You can let your knees open out to the side. Just a big stretch forward. Bring the knees back together. Round back again and repeat. Rotating open, center, and rotating open. Good. Try to keep spinning your pelvis underneath you so you're opening across the front of the hips. You're not sitting up kind of straight and leaning back. You're spinning the pelvis, getting the glutes to curl you under. That's better, Natalia. Yeah. And coming back forward and rest. We're going to come on to our hands and knees. If you have a long roller, this will work. If it's a short roller, it might not work. It might not be long enough. So do it without the roller, obviously, if it doesn't work, but the short one. So put the roller on a slight diagonal, and you're going to put one hand and the opposite knee on that roller. And then you're finding level, so you got to kind of balance yourself up on your hands and knees. And then reach the free arm and leg out, and you can bring it back in. Do that a couple times, reach it out and bring it back in. Good. So adding a little balance challenge here. That looks good, everyone. Nice, Gloria. Reaching the arm and leg out. And then keep the arm and leg straight and just tap down to the ground and lift it back up towards horizontal. Tap down, lift up to horizontal. One more time. And then set that arm and leg down, switch over to the other side. So switch the diagonal. And opposite hand and knee are on the roller. Find your balance, find your stability, and then you can reach the arm and leg out and bring it back in and down. And good. Yeah, that looks great, everyone. If you're struggling with the roller, feel free to do this without the roller. It's obviously adding a balance challenge here for us. Reaching out, bringing it back in. Reaching out. And then keep the arm and legs straight, tap down and lift up. Good, let me see here. Tap down and lift up, keep the arm and leg straight. That looks good. As you lift your arm and leg, try to think about going towards horizontal. Tap your fingertip and your toe to the floor. Lower your fingertip and your toe back down to the floor. Lift it back up to horizontal. 3 more. Down and lift up and down and lift up. And then bringing yourself back down. Good. From here, you're going to put again, you can do this without the roller, just won't be quite, it's similar, very similar. So put your shins over the roller and back yourself up so that your toes can be tucked under on the floor. So it's kind of like your knees are on there. And then push back into your calves. So you're stretching your back into extension and stretching your calves open. And then you're going to round your back like a cat back and pull one leg in. There's not a very big range of motion. That's totally fine. The other foot's still on the floor. The other heel is still reaching back. And then you switch. So it's this small little position, not a big range. You're not trying to go into a plank. You're trying to keep the roller kind of under you. Under, pull it in, 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 pull it in. And then set your knees down if you need to rest. I think, Natalia, what's happening is you're lifting both feet off the floor. So there are versions where you're like more in a plank where you're doing something like this, but if you get that start position where it's more under your knees and your toes are tucked under, my feet are planted, one leg stays planted as the other pulls in. So it's a really tight little position. Try one more set. Pulling in, pulling in, pulling in. One foot's on the floor, one leg is pulling in. One foot's on the floor, one leg is pulling in. And then rest. Something like that. All right. So then put the roller to the side. If it's too, to the side of your body, if it's too firm, you can put the mat over it if it feels like it's uncomfortable in any way. But if you have a ball, bolster, a towel, anything to put under your ribs, this works with nothing, but it's not a very big range of motion. So you're laying over the roller, and then you're going to use your abdominals to lift yourself up into one long line, and then you side bend towards the floor. Yeah, and if you need to adjust where the roller is, like Natalia, I would move yours down. Same thing, Gloria, maybe a little bit towards your waist, just a little, so that it feels like it rolls one way as your head goes down, and then it rolls kind of away from you as you come up. You also could do this with your hand under your head. Yeah, exactly. It's a little easier with the hand supporting the head, not as big of heavy lever. And then add your top leg lifting and lowering with your body. Lift and lower. Nice. Hold yourself up and circle your leg in the air, circling around. Keep connecting through the abdominals and reverse, circling. And then lowering yourself down, take your top arm overhead, stretch your top arm and your leg away from each other so you're creating as long of a line as possible. Take a couple breaths. And then lift yourself back up and put barely any weight in that bottom hand. I mean, you can totally do it propped up on your arm completely, but it's easier. So if you can put your hand down and out away from you, very little weight, lift your top leg up, 2 kicks forward, 1 sweep back. Trying to keep your torso still. And as you're moving your leg, you're stabilizing your torso against that little roll of the roller. 2 forward, 1 back. If it starts to feel like it's working your neck more than you'd like, bring your hand and kind of drape it over your head and let your head be held up by that top arm. Two more. And last one. And then take the roller out from underneath you, bring it in front of you. Lay all the way out on your side. Take your top leg on top of the roller. Stack your shoulders, ribs, hips, and then lift the bottom leg, big circles of the bottom leg, oval shapes, circling your leg around. Trying to make it as big a range as possible so you brush the floor and then you lift it up as high as you can. Reverse the direction, circling around. And then lower that leg down. Adjust the roller so you can put your top arm on top. It also can go on the floor, but roll yourself towards the floor and roll yourself back a little bit. If you have a shorter roller, your hand can go on the floor. Just roll up your inner thigh. If you want it to be a little bigger, bring your arm underneath you, slide it back out. Bring your arm underneath you and then slide it back out. Do that twice more, just rolling the roller up your inner thigh towards your groin. And then bringing it back. You can ignore the roller for a second. Bring your legs out on top of each other. Lift your head, lift your feet up into a low hover, and then lower back down. Do that a couple times. Feel the waist on the top side lifting you up. Side bend and lower down. And side bend, lower down. Trying to lift yourself up as far as you can. Draw yourself up. One more time, you're gonna stay up and do a little pulse of the legs. Up, up, up. And then lower down. Roll onto your stomach. Rotate your legs turned out, arms in kind of a W shape. Reach the top of the head away from the pelvis to lengthen yourself up as far as it feels comfortable to you today. And then feel like you're pulling yourself back forward and down as you lower down with control. And feel like you're getting longer as you lift yourself up. Lengthen through your spine, get really long. And then lower yourself back down twice more. Drawing yourself up into extension, getting longer, longer, longer. Connect your abdominals, pull yourself forward to lower down. Last time, drawing yourself up, lift into extension. Keep the legs really actively involved as you reach back down. Bring your legs together, push yourself back into a little shell stretch, round through your back. Push your hands into the floor, scoop the abs off the thighs. And then we're gonna lay it on the second side. So we start with the roller underneath the ribs, the armpit. Higher towards your armpit is gonna be less range of motion. So figure out where it can be for you. And then you're gonna do this side bend here. If you're doing it with no roller, your arm would be laying out long and you'd be thinking of lifting your upper body. It just won't look like as big a range of motion. Yeah, good. Yeah, see if you can get your bottom arm off the floor. So point your elbow forward like a big nose. Because if you leave it out to the side, then you hit the floor before you go very far. So point your elbow forward. More. Point it straight forward. Yeah, now you have lots of room to go down, so you have more room to lift up from. Exactly. Some of you did it on the other side with your arm reaching out overhead. That's an option as well. That looks good. And side bend, lengthen yourself up. Good. And then add your top leg lifting and lowering along with your torso. So your leg and your torso lifts and your leg and your torso lowers. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. Yeah, think of lifting from the side of the leg, which will mean it probably won't lift very high. If you turn your knee towards you, then you could lift it really high, but I want you to work the side of your hips more. So try to lift and lower your knee, stays facing forward. Hold yourself up, circle your leg around, circle. And then reverse, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Do a big stretch over the side. Grab your top arm and pull on your top arm. Get longer, longer, longer on that top side. And then take your top arm down your waist and down your leg and lift yourself up. Barely any weight in that bottom hand. Lift your leg up, 2 kicks forward, forward, sweep the leg back, and forward, and sweep back. Again, if it feels like pressure in your neck at all, you can drape your hand over your head. If it's just not working, you could put your arm down underneath you. trying to use the arms as little as possible to stabilize you and stabilize more from your core. Two more. And last one. Good. And then we can take the roller out from underneath, lay all the way down on your side, bring your top leg on top, and start with just rolling a little bit through your inner thighs. You could bring yourself up onto your arm, slide back out, slide through the inner thigh. One more time. Just trying to get a little opening there for your adductor. And then straighten yourself back out again. Rest your leg on the top leg on the roller. Lift the bottom leg and big ovals, circling your leg around. Trying to go all the way down, brush the floor. Sometimes I see that the circle just stays up really high. Try to make it as big as possible in all directions while you're stabilizing. And reverse. Good. And then let the roller go. Take your top arm down your leg, stack your shoulders, ribs, hips. Use your abdominals to lift yourself up and then lengthen back down. Do that a couple times. Get longer, pull yourself up and lower. Feeling like that top side rib and hip come towards each other. If you really emphasize this top hand reaching down the leg as you come up, it'll also help you. Reach down the leg, lower. One more, you're gonna hold up, stay, and little pulses of the legs, pulse, pulse. And then lower back down, roll onto your stomach. This time, keep your legs parallel and reaching straight out behind you so your knees are pointed down. Hover your upper body up off the floor, including your forearms. Reach your arms forward like super person. Circle your arms around and spin your thumbs up. So breaststroke, dive forward, circle around. So you're getting lower, your nose almost touches the ground. And then as you circle around, you lift up. Your nose almost touches the ground. You circle around and lift up. Three more. Try to keep your legs down and pull evenly from both sides of the body. And last one. Lower yourself back down. Just shake your hips out for a second. Take your arms overhead. Rotate your legs turned out. Reach your arms and legs away from each other. So you're in this narrow X shape for swimming. So you're going to float your arms and legs off the floor. You can either stay and hold or try to lift the opposite arm and leg a little higher. You can choose what breath pattern you use. If you're going pretty fast, you could breathe kind of like the hundreds. Reaching, opposite arm and leg. And then everyone reach the arms and legs away from each other and then lower back down. We'll do one more set of these. Hopefully you feel some work between the shoulder blades on the upper back. Reach the arms and legs out and lift opposite arm and leg a little higher. Lift and lift and lift. And trying to not let yourself get crooked as you start to pick up the pace. And then reach the arms and legs out long. Lower yourself back down. Bring your hands under your shoulders. Push yourself back into a little shell stretch. Round your back, scooping through your lower spine, rounding through the spine. Good. And then come onto your hands and knees. Back your knees up so you're in a kind of kneeling plank position. And then just push your legs up into your plank, bend your knees and set it down. You can stay there longer than I am, it's up to you, but you're just trying to find the connection of the back of the legs to extend the knees to straight and then set the knees back down. Good. So you can stick with this, or we're gonna add to this. You decide. You're gonna press yourself up in your plank and then just rock a little forward and back. Focus on the rocking back part. And then set your knees down, take a break wherever you need. Those of you who want to keep adding to this, we're going to do leg pull front. So you're going to press your hips open, lift up, lift one foot, rock back, rock forward, set your foot down. Lift up, rock back, rock forward, set it down. You could do 2, you could do 4 before you switch to the other side. So you lift one foot, you rock back, forward, set it down, lift, rock, rock, set it down, lift, rock, rock, set it down, lift, and set it back down. When you're starting to fatigue, sit back into a little shell stretch. One more set. Press yourself up into your plank. Lift one leg up, rock back, forward, set it down. Lift, rock, rock, set it down. Lift, rock, rock, set it down. Last one. Set it back down. Set your knees down. Turn to face the front towards me. Put your forearm down and lift your top leg up. You're gonna lower, well, let's start with your leg on the ground actually. So lower your hip down until you're in a straight-ish line between the upper body and the knee. And then you can set your pelvis back down to the floor if you need to take a break. And then you're gonna push yourself back up again. So connect to that bottom arm, reach the top arm up to the ceiling, thread the needle under the armpit, and then reach back up to the ceiling. If you need to, set your hip down in between each one. If you want this to be harder, keep your leg in the air the whole time, the top leg. Hover up, thread under, look back to the front, set your hip down or stay up, and press the floor away, thread under. Twice more like that. Yeah, that looks awesome. And last one. Good. And then come up onto your hand, bring your knees all the way together and go into just a simple side bend. Once you side bend, stretch your back in whatever direction feels good to you. And then set your hips down and swing your legs over to the second side. Forearm underneath you, top leg out straight. If you want it to be even a little more regressed, you could have both knees stay together. And push the floor away, lift yourself up. Thread the needle. Reach back up to the ceiling, lower it back down, and thread under, up to the ceiling, lower down. And just stick with pushing the floor away, coming up on that bottom arm too. You don't have to make it a huge motion, just lifting a little and lowering a little. One more. And then bring yourself up onto your hand, push yourself into that side bend, stretch your torso in whatever direction feels good to you, towards the ceiling, towards the ground. And then set your hips back down. And we're gonna take your elbows down behind you, back your elbows up so that your elbows are behind your shoulders. If they're too far forward, you'll feel like you're tipping over the whole time. Should feel like your head is pointed up to the ceiling. If this ends up being too much, just lay all the way down on your back. So connect your abs into your imprint. Keep the head lifting up to the ceiling. Lift the legs to tabletop. And just do a few toe taps here to start. As your leg toe taps, you don't want to feel like it's tipping you off your elbows. So imprint enough that that doesn't happen. Yeah, if you want to make it harder, lift the legs up to the ceiling, and you're going to make a circle. So it's like an oval down, around, and to the center. Down one side, towards the bottom, up and around, back up to the ceiling. Shift the legs, they circle around, they come back up to the ceiling. Each time, switch directions. It's kind of a bobby pin shape, so it's more vertical than it is wide. You have to bend your knees, that's okay. Just make sure your legs don't go super far to the side. Nice. Down, around, and back up. Keep pushing the floor away with the upper body. One more time, finish up even. And bring your legs back down. Set yourself all the way down on your back. Take your feet wide apart and just drop your knees from one side to the other. If you have a roller near you and you want to do this with a roller, you'd bring the roller underneath the sacrum and you drop the knees to one side. You get this nice little massage of the side of your hip and your glute against that roller as you switch from one side to the other. And then we'll come back to the center. If you're on the roller, come off the roller. And we're going to come up off of the floor. You're going to turn to the side to face me again. And we're going to do our side bend prep. So we've been working on this lately. If your hand, don't have it line up with your knees, have it line up with your feet. Your top leg is in front of the bottom leg and your top hand is on that top knee. So start by just pushing yourself up to your bottom knee. So you're on a hand, a knee, and a foot, basically, and then lower back down. And if you want to make this bigger, you can try to push yourself up, squeeze your inner thighs together to come up into a big side bend, and then lower back down. The cheat is kind of like jetting this bottom leg out, and then you don't end up in a side bend, you end up kind of in a plank. So you're trying to curve as much as you can. So you have to start with that bottom shoulder connecting into the waist, and that takes you up. Squeeze the inner thighs together and then lower down. One more time. Yeah. You have to have a lot of side bend in your ribs to be able to do this very well. So it does take some time of you just kind of getting up halfway and going back down, and might not be a strength thing. It's just the flexibility of your ribs. So start with your hand kind of in line with your foot. Just come up to your knees and feel how your ribs are curving. That's what we're going for as we come all the way up. So squeeze the legs together, and maybe you only get up this far, and that's okay. And you lower back down. And you do it a few times. Press yourself up into that side bend. That looks good. Squeeze the legs together as much as you can. 2 more, whatever you're doing. Looks awesome. And last one. Good, and then setting your hips back down. We're gonna take the feet wide. Have lots of space on the mat behind you. Grab behind your knees. We're working on open leg rockers. So you're gonna lift your legs up, lengthen your spine so you're looking up on the high diagonal. As you roll back, you're gonna round, extend your legs. As you come up, you're gonna bend your knees and then lengthen your spine at the top. So it's slower than rolling like a ball. So you deepen your abs, you look towards your pubic bone, you roll back, you bend the knees, and lengthen the spine to your teaser spine at the top. Yeah, do that a couple times, rounding back and scoop and lift up. Try not to let your head hit the ground. And rounding back. Yep. And then if some of you want to add to the leg extension, you could grab behind the ankles and start with the legs open. So same idea, you round back, push into your legs. You got to find your balance. Hopefully you're smoother than me. And deepen your abs to roll back. You round the spine. If you get stuck, just roll back again. Push your legs into your hands to help you get up. Twice more. Rounding back. And press through the legs, lengthen the spine to get up. Two more of whatever you're doing. And last one. And then set your feet down. Good. Awesome. So come back over onto your forearms and your knees. Whichever arm is closer to the camera, that hand, you're going to come up onto that hand. Yeah. So it's like a hand and a leg. And then see, sorry, a hand and a forearm. That makes more sense. Step one leg back, then step the other leg back to your plank, then set your knee down, then set the other knee down. So your shoulders aren't level because one side is on a forearm and one side is on a hand. Step back, set it down, set it down. Do that a couple times. Yeah, that's right. And then switch which forearm is down and which hand is down. And same thing, back, in. It just puts a little bit more work into the shoulder that is down. The forearm is down. One more time. Out, in. Then you can do this either on your knees being down in a kneeling plank position or even with your hips up. But I want you to go down onto one forearm, down onto the other forearm, back to one hand, back to the other hand. If you want to do it in a full plank, by all means, please do. If you want to go back to what we just did, that's an option. So down, up. Try to switch which arm is initiating. Try to get rid of as much of the rolling side to side as you can. So you're trying to go, yeah, that looks awesome, everyone. Good, Soraya. Down, up, down, up. Two more of whatever you're doing. Last one. And then sit back to your heels, bring your knees in, bring your arms back along your legs and let your forehead just relax on the floor. If your head doesn't touch the floor, maybe stick a yoga block or something underneath it. Just trying to stretch your back open a little bit. And then you can bring your hands underneath your shoulders and push yourself up onto your feet and roll yourself up to standing. Depending on the room you're in and your strength, I'm going to give you a couple options. Option one would be to put the roller against the wall, put your forearms against it, and find a little bit of a plank position, and just try to feel the back of the shoulders connected as you roll the roller up and down a little bit. Yeah. The other, that should work. Serratus anterior, you should feel a lot of work through your back of your shoulders. Otherwise, you can hold on to the roller and step yourself back so your hands are at about shoulder height. You don't want it to feel like the roller is going to slide down the wall. And you can do your push-ups here, adding the instability of the roller, not letting it slide down the wall. Yeah, so lift your heels off the ground. And if you don't have a wall, you could do this on the floor and modify. Yeah, exactly. So if you're doing the version where your forearms are on the roller, feel like you're pushing into the roller and you're trying to keep the back of the shoulder blades connected as your arms go up and down. If you're doing the full push-up, just feel like you're keeping your hips as far forward as you can, so you're in a plank the whole time. And you're trying to keep that sense of press of the roller against the wall. Yeah, that looks awesome. Good. And then you could either keep doing what you're doing or come back down to the floor. And we're going to make it a little more difficult. So I wanted to show you those wall options because there's always ways we can make it easier. So if you put a lot of the roller out away from you and have yourself on your hands and knees, you're going to push the roller to the other hand. Push the roller to the other hand. After, you know, several of them, the roller might get crooked. You can always adjust. If you want to do this in a kneeling plank, you can. Pass the roller. If you want to do it in a full plank, you can. Let's see some full planks. Try to get your hands so they're far enough apart, like at least as wide as the mat, so that you have enough space to roll it. You definitely can be more here where your weight is not as heavy through the arms and the upper body. Yeah, that looks good, Gloria. Awesome, Natalia. And if it gets too crooked, then feel free to adjust. Just a few more. Pass the roller to one hand. And then bring yourself back in, sit back, and we're gonna put our forearms on the roller like you did on the wall. Push, pull here. If that feels pretty good, you can find your balance and step back into a plank or into a kneeling plank. You can either stay and hold, you just don't want to collapse, so you're not letting your chest collapse into the roller. Trying to find that press into the forearms, either holding or a little bit of push-pull with the arms, a little forward, a little back, a little forward, a little back. Awesome, everyone. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Pull the roller onto your thighs and stretch over the roller. So it's shortening and kind of compressing the front of your body so that you have to stretch your back body open a little bit more. Take a couple breaths here. Trying to drape over the roller, melt over it. And then you can roll back up and you're all done. It's always a good idea to finish, since you have the roller out, with rolling your upper back. I'll show you really quick. Rolling through the lower back, maybe around the glutes. And then your quads. However you can make it work. Obviously, I'm going faster than you would need to. Good job. Thank you guys for coming. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.